Hello, welcome to Levant TV headlines. Yemen's minority Shi'ite Houthi fighters have taken up guard at President Abd-Rabbu Mansour Hadi's home, but said they had not toppled him after 2 days of fighting. A Bahraini court has sentenced 3 defendants to 15 years each in prison after it convicted them of blowing up a car in the capital Manama last year. A knife-wielding Palestinian attacked passengers on a bus in Tel Aviv, wounding at least 12 people before being shot by a passing prison officer. US President Barack Obama has warned Congress that any move to impose new sanctions on Iran could scupper delicate negotiations aimed at reaching a complex nuclear deal. 2 Turkish police have been jailed for at least 10 years over the killing of a teenage protester during 2013 demonstrations against the rule of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. And now let's have a look at top headlines in today's newspapers in the Middle East. From Beirut, the Daily Star leads reporting that Israeli tanks were witnessed taking up new positions along Lebanon's southeastern border as UNIFIL and Lebanese army troops boost their patrols in the area amid tensions following a deadly weekend Israeli strike on a Hezbollah convoy in the Golan Heights. The paper also reports that Lebanese Army Commander General Jean Ahwaji traveled to the volatile northeastern border region of Arsal, the site of deadly August clashes with jihadi forces. From Cairo, the Independent leads reporting that April 6th Youth Movement's Democratic Front said that the conditions set by the institution of presidency and the Interior Ministry to pardon youth jailed over violating the law regulating protests on the occasion of the 25th of January revolution would cause the exclusion of detained movement youth, including Ahmed Maher, founder of the April 6th movement, and activists Ahmed Douma and Alaa Abdel Fattah. The paper also reports that Cairo will host a meeting that brings together a group of senior national figures to discuss the crisis in Syria at the headquarters of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs from 22nd to the 24th of January. And from the UAE, the Khalij Times leads reporting that Yemen's powerful Houthi rebels shelled the private residence of the country's embattled president and simultaneously swept into the presidential palace in the capital Sana'a as a top military commander warned that a full-fledged coup was underway. The paper also reports that the Environment Agency Abu Dhabi now wants more desalination plants in the Emirate, with the Emirates' population and economy estimated to triple by 2020. And now let's have a look at papers here in London. The Telegraph leads Middle East News reporting that Japan has dispatched a crisis management team to Jordan to attempt to win the freedom of 2 Japanese nationals being held by ISIS in Syria. In a video released on Tuesday, the British extremist known as Jihadi John issued Tokyo with an ultimatum to pay a ransom of £131 million within 72 hours, or the 2 men named as Haruna Yukawa and Kenji Goto would be executed. The Independent leads Middle East News reporting that a British jihadist who faked his death in Syria so he could return home undetected faces life in prison, having been convicted of major terrorism offences. 27-year-old Imran Khawaja from Southall in London spent 6 months in the war-torn country last year at a terrorist training camp after arriving via Kurdistan in January. Also from the UK, The Guardian reports that Sir John Chilcot has confirmed his long-delayed inquiry into the Iraq War will not be published until after the UK general election, saying there was no realistic chance of evaluating the responses from those criticised in the draft report before that date. Chilcot said individuals who were going to be criticised in the report were currently being given the opportunity to respond to provisional criticism. Now let's have a look at top Middle East headlines. China's Global Times reports that Egypt has reopened Rafah border crossing point on the borders with the Gaza Strip for 3 days to enable patients and students to travel abroad. Gaza's Ministry of Interior said in an emailed press statement that Egypt opened the gate of Rafah crossing on Tuesday morning for 3 days to enable stranded Gazans on both sides of the crossing to travel. And finally, Germany's Deutsche Welle reports that the head of Yemen's powerful Houthi rebel group Abdel-Malek al-Houthi has claimed that the embattled president has not made a serious effort to implement a peace deal he signed with the Houthis in September, which was brokered by the UN. Al-Houthi also warned Tuesday in a televised speech that all options are open in action against Yemeni President Abd-Rabbu Mansour Hadi, just hours after Houthi fighters took over the presidential palace and embattled guards at Hadi's residence. For more updates, visit levant.tv. Thanks for watching and bye for now.